Hi, I'm Kemar McInnes. Welcome to part 2 of the Blender 2.76 series. In part 1, I provided an overview of the Blender 2.76 software, along with various shortcut keys and how they can be used.
After viewing this video, you should be able to effectively view objects from different angles, differentiate between perspective and orthographic view, and demonstrate how to add an object. Adhere to occupational health and safety standards, pay attention to details, think critically, communicate effectively, use initiative. Now, to use Blender on your machine, your computer needs to have these minimum system requirements. They are a 32-bit dual-core 2 GHz CPU with SSE2 support, 2 GB of RAM, a 24-bit 1280 by 768 display, a mouse or a trackpad, OpenGL 2.1 compatible graphics with 512 MB of RAM. Now the storage requirements are: you must have at least 250 gigabytes of hard drive space, or a 1 to 2 terabyte hard drive, or you can use a paid cloud service like Dropbox. Let's get started.
Now, let's say I wanted to view my object from the front. How would I know which side is the front, which side is the left, the right, the bottom, or the top? To view your object from any angle, you can click the view menu right here, and right here we see the different views. So if I click on front, it goes to the front view, and if you look up here as well, you can see that it's in the front. I can click bottom, goes to the bottom, top goes to the top. So you're actually viewing the object from the top, and of course you can hold down your middle mouse wheel and still rotate around that screen, and so you can view it from all different angles. Now there are two different types of views, one being the perspective view and the other being the orthographic view. And if you look up here, right now we are in the user perspective view. PRSP is short for perspective. So if I click view and click view perspective / orthographic, it will switch between the perspective view and the orthographic view. So let me go to the front view. You see that it's in front perspective. I can also switch to front orthographic view, and you notice in the orthographic view everything seems flat, and you can see the grid behind your object, whereas in the perspective view it looks more three-dimensional, but it's actually still 3D inside the orthographic view, because if I hold on my middle mouse button and rotate, you can see that the object is still three-dimensional. Cool. So that's one difference between the two views. Also, to inside perspective view, right, if I have multiple objects, so let me just duplicate this, and to duplicate again you can either come over here or you press shift and D to duplicate. So I'm going to move that, move it out, shift and D again, and move it out, shift and D again, and move it out. Now you notice in perspective view you have a sense of perspective. As the object is far from your eyes, it appears smaller, and when it's closer to your eyes, it appears much larger. Now this is so in perspective view, but in orthographic view the object appears to be the same size no matter where it is. So I mean, if you ever get lost and for some reason you don't look up here, you can tell whether you're in perspective view or orthographic view by doing that. Okay, although usually it's pretty clear up here, so I doubt that will happen to you, that you will forget. So yeah, so that's how you switch between the different views. So let me undo, and to undo you press Ctrl and Z. So undo, And if you ever get lost or you don't remember any of the shortcuts, you can press the spacebar key. So if I press the spacebar key, it will bring up a menu, and in this menu I can basically type anything that I don't know how to do. So let's say I just undid what I did, but I don't remember how to redo. So if I type redo, I would see everything that has to do with redo pop up inside this window right here, and it says Control Shift Z, and if I click that, it would redo. Or I could use the shortcut key to redo. So anything that you don't remember, you can use the spacebar key. It's very helpful. And let's see if we can get rotate right here. So see, I typed rotate, and it tells me that okay, to rotate I can press R. So it's very useful. And to get rid of this menu, you can click anywhere outside of that space. So how do we add objects? Well, right now we only have our cube, but if we wanted to add other items or other objects to the scene, we can go over here where it says create, or we can choose from here where it says add and choose mesh, and then we can see the different things that we can add to the scene. But for right now, let's use the create tab. So let's say I wanted to add a plane. I just clicked on plane and it will get added to the scene. You can't really see the plane because my cube is blocking it, but if I should select my cube and move it out of the way, you see we have my plane right here. Cool. Now this right here is called the 3D cursor, and if I should left click, you see that the 3D cursor moves wherever I click. Now wherever the 3D cursor is in the scene, that's where your object will be added once you add that object. So if I should put it right here and I add another cube, it would be added right there. And if I should left click over here and let's say I add a cone, it would get added right there. So wherever your 3D cursor is, that's where your objects will be added into the scene. To reset your 3D cursor to get it back into the center, you would press Shift and C. So that's the Shift key and the C key. Once you press that, it will go directly back into the center. And there are tons of objects that you can add. I can even add more light sources, so I can add a sun lamp, I can add text, whatever it may be. And of course I can add the same items from here by clicking add, mesh, and I choose what I want to add to the scene. And also the shortcut to add anything to the scene is Shift and A. So if you hold on the Shift key and the A key, you get the shortcut menu to add objects to the scene. So again, shortcuts are, would make your workflow much faster. Okay, and of course you can rotate, scale any of these items or move them. Let's see how much you remember. Question 1. How can an individual add an object to the scene? Question 2. What is the difference between perspective view and orthographic view? Question 3. What are the shortcut keys for the following? Hide the left window panel, undo, grab an object, and rotate an object. The answer to question 1. How can an individual add an object to the scene? To add an object to the scene in Blender, first you click the Add option, then select Mesh and choose the object that you wish to add to the scene. The answer to question 2. What is the difference between perspective view and the orthographic view? The difference between the perspective view and the orthographic view is the perspective view allows an object which is far away to appear smaller than those objects that are nearby, while the orthographic view makes you see all objects at the same scale. The perspective view gives more information about depth and are often easier to view because you use perspective views in real life, while the orthographic view makes it much easier to compare two objects, as there is no question about how the viewport may affect the perception of distance.
The answer to the third question, what are the shortcut keys for the following? Hide the left window panel. To hide the left window panel, you click the T button on the keyboard. To undo, you click Ctrl and the Z key or the Z key. To grab an object, click the G key. To rotate, click the R key.
Thanks for viewing part 2 of the Blender 2.76 series. I hope your knowledge of adding and viewing objects from different angles have increased. Stay tuned for part 3 of the Blender 2.76 series, which will be on the editing of objects.